Hey guys, it's Jay. This week the blog is going to be in two separate parts. The first part is this part that I'm literally filming on my way to work out because it's all about time management and how bad I am getting at it. When this thing started, I was adamant that this ultimately was an exercise in selfishness. That every step of the way I had to make conscious decisions to put myself first and to put my needs first. And that got out of hand rather quickly. Not that I became incredibly selfish or anything, but that I've learned that all of the things I want to do take up more time than I possibly have if I'm going to meet all of the commitments that I have, that all of us have through everyday life, of family and of being there for work, not just being there and putting in the time with family and work, but, being as engaged as I used to be. It's no secret that one of the things that I used to do as a way of escaping my situation, as a way of convincing myself I could still be competent and contributing and all of those things when I was 460 pounds, one of the ways I did that was to throw myself into my job. I was a complete workaholic, and that's not healthy, obviously. And I do still love my job, and I'm still fully committed to it, and I'm still very present, but, I find myself ending my day earlier. I end it, when it should end, as opposed to what I used to do, which was basically some days work like a day and a half. Not necessarily because I had the work to do, but because I just didn't want to go face the life that I had outside of work. And I think, for overweight people or people in bad relationships or anything, we can identify with that. We have a way of running to those comfort areas, right? But the time management aspect that's come up for me is that there is so much that I want to do, and there are so many things that for me I want to say yes to, and especially because I'm sharing this story, I'm getting the opportunity to be invited to so many events that all of you are a part of, or that you are hosting, or hobbies that you have that you think I might have an interest in. And I love all of that. And I really appreciate those invites, and I really hope that my talking about this doesn't make those go away. Because I really do want to take part in all of those. And, I certainly haven't been making commitments that I haven't been keeping. I've been going to it, but it's come at a cost. For example, I found myself putting little catches in place. So, as an accountability measure, last week at the end of the blog, I said, next week in the blog, we're going to talk about sugar. We'll talk about some of the things that you might not know about it that I didn't know about it, myself. And I'm going to close the sunroof here. And the reason I did that, because I've never done it before, I've never told you at the end of one video what we're going to do a week later. I did that to force myself to do it, because I've wanted to do that now for 4 weeks. I've had that planned for 4 weeks. And then Thursday would come around and I just wouldn't have time, because I had something to go out to, or something I wanted to do, or, So I did that as a way of making sure that I did it. And you can see that it's Thursday now. I'm just on my way now to go work out, and I haven't shot the blog yet. So I'm shooting this now while we're on our way to do that. And then when I get home, I'm going to, through the computer, tag in the information about sugar that I wanted to include, just how much sugar is in some of the stuff that you eat every day, that you probably feed your kids every day. And I'm convinced now that really what did me in was a sugar addiction. When you take a look at the amount of sugar I was consuming before and how much I actually, get in the run of the day now, there is no comparison at all. So we'll take a look at that. But I think the mere fact that I set myself up to talk about sugar that way, that I had to put that little trap in for myself to tell you that that's what we were going to talk about, that kind of triggered for me that doing a little bit on time management was key. Like I said in the beginning, I said that this was going to be a selfish exercise, and it is in so many ways. But part of that selfishness is that I now say yes to all the things that I want to do, and that puts more pressure on me to make time for myself, but at the same time meet those other commitments. So to scale that down from what I'm, up against, that's relatable, I think, to anyone who takes on weight loss. You come home from work at the end of the day and you have to feed your family, or you go out for groceries and you've got 2 kids with you, or whatever it is that you're up against. It's very hard to make the selfish decision, to make yourself a priority, and to make those on the surface selfish acts and selfish decisions that really aren't selfish at all, because you're doing it not just for you, but for your entire family and your friends, and so you can be a better person at work, so you can be a better person in your relationship or whatever it is. But at the time, when it's just you choosing to be you, when it's you choosing to not put in the overtime at work, or to, not do this thing you thought you were going to do, or that you wanted to do, and you're shelving those things because of stuff that you have to do for yourself, you can really feel the crunch. And I've been feeling that crunch the last week and a half to 2 weeks. You know, there hasn't been any fallout from it because I think it's been an internal battle. It's been me not fighting against anybody's expectations of me. But as I said early on in this, I was trying to still do everything I did when, you know, before I took this on. But at the same time add in all the stuff that I'm doing now, and that's a challenge. I mean, it's more than a challenge. It's impossible. So that's all I really wanted to say, was that, you know, if that's an excuse that you're using, if you feel that you're up against it, then I relate. I feel like I'm up against it too. And you kind of just have to battle your way through it, and you have to get smart about how you do things. You have to find ways to be more efficient. You know, the same way that I didn't want to be in a grocery store 3 or 4 times a week, the same way the meal plan fixed that. You know, getting a plan on paper, getting organized, helped me, you know, make sure I'm only going to the grocery store twice a week. You know, what I call a cart run on Sunday, where you get everything for the house, and then a basket run on Wednesday, where I'm just getting fresh stuff to get me through the second half of the week. That really organized that part of my life. I have to find ways to introduce that now for other aspects of my life. You know, because it just, this whole process slowly takes over if you let it. And I'm by nature an obsessive guy. When I get into something, I go all in. And the cost of that is that when being all in becomes overwhelming, you know, my reaction in the past has never been to scale something back. It's been to just walk away from it and say, well, I can't do that the way I want to do it, so I'm not doing it at all. And I want to be really conscious not to do that with this. That, you know, the degree of commitment I showed in the early months, that obsessiveness of learning everything I could about the lap band and meeting as many people that had the surgery as I could, all of that was helpful and beneficial, and I really do think that it's the smart way to do it. But it's equally as important now, 3 months out, to try to blend that back into the life I had before surgery. So many parts of my life were put on pause while I got comfortable with this and introduced this, that now that I bring those old parts back in, I have to make sure that I don't bring old habits with them, but at the same time, I have to make sure that it's balanced enough that I don't feel overwhelmed by everything else or underwhelmed by the surgery, right? Like, now that I'm not obsessed with it, now that's just a regular part of my life, I have to make sure that I'm not let down, you know, by my experience with it, because there's nothing in the results that should let me down. That's something completely I would do on my own, because I know myself, I know my personality, and I know my history. So anyway, I want to, you know, it's just one of those things you kind of got to be watchful for. So I'm going to throw to the sugar thing now that I'm going to record in my kitchen after I work out. But there is a challenge I have for you for next week. 2 people in my life, a good friend of mine, Amy Casey, and a friend of mine that I've only met since lap band surgery. She lives down in the States, and she has a blog and stuff as well. Both of them issued me a challenge this week without really even realizing it, which was, I don't want to call it a bucket list because it sounds so damn corny and so overdone, but they challenged me to come up with a list of things that I legitimately want to accomplish for myself now that I'm losing weight, and now that I'm down almost down 135 pounds now. So what are those things on the list? You know, if it's travel, if it's a challenge, if it's something athletic, if it's, you know, whatever it is. I don't want to do that alone, honestly. You know, there are lots of you who are following this along who are losing some weight. And there are some of you who have taken on major weight loss. There are some of you who have taken on surgery. And whatever that is for you, I just want to know kind of what they are. And I'm going to do the same thing. So send them to me, put them up on the Facebook page, you know, drop me an email, comment, whatever you're comfortable with. These can be public or private, whatever you want. But I'm really interested in hearing what's on your list. Why do you want to lose weight? What things do you want to be able to do after you lose weight, or as you lose weight that maybe you couldn't be doing before? I swear to God, the guy in front of me is a tourist. He's got BC plates and he's driving 5 kilometers an hour through an intersection. Calm the rage down, Jay. Calm the rage down. All right, so send me what's on your list. I look forward to that. I'll share mine with you next week, and we'll also cut to me talking about sugar now. But right now, take a look where I'm working out today. Dominion Beach, folks. Not too shabby.